in my class react to these comments? What would they do about it? Are there any things I can learn from that? We look at it from the point of view of an outsider, somebody that's not academic at all, but might understand me, the student, the person. It might be a relative, the aunt or uncle that really knows me and understands me and can give me advice on how I might improve. The lens of stopping and taking a breath and looking at the wider picture, and the most popular one of all, the lens of the wise mind. What should I do next? What's the best thing I can do in response to these feedback comments? We've evaluated our 130 odd workshops. We've received more than 1,200 forms back. 93% of students found them worthwhile and were satisfied. Here's some of the comments. Made me more confident to ask questions about my feedback. The dialogue, the engagement we were seeking comes from that. I hadn't thought about the powerful impact that getting feedback can have. My thoughts have changed about it now. That was great, really positive. It made me think about how I react to getting feedback and what to do to get the most out of feedback. At that point, we knew we were onto a winner. And most of the comments, and they are genuine comments from students in open form, reflected that basis. We had, I think, 2.3% of comments that said, I already know all of this. Good luck to them if they do. We've just reinforced a learning concept. But overwhelmingly positive, supportive. Let's have more of this. Nobody's ever explained this to me before in my life, was also a comment that we received quite frequently. So perhaps we're meeting a need, a bit like today. We also ran a series of memorable feedback competitions. These were quite clever. On the surface, they're colourful, attractive things that says, fill in this postcard or fill in this survey online, you might win a prize. But actually, they're exploring students' understanding of feedback. We asked them to name 5 different types of feedback they get, and what were the most memorable ones and why. And over the 3 years that we've run this, we've found increasing engagement. We've trebled the number of entries in our competition. The prizes have got smaller and smaller each year, incidentally, so it's not just inducement. And we've also seen increasing recognition about the need to be proactive in reflecting upon feedback comments, and that's very gratifying, I must say. We've got more than 40 resources available on the Feedback for Future Learning website, including a staff portal, and just go to gcu.ac.uk. You can get to it from there, no problem at all. Did it work? Well, in a world driven by people's perceptions of NSS scores, rightly or wrongly, that's the game we're in, our scores rose by 9% for assessment and feedback during this project. That is failure, by the way, because I set the target of 10. Do you remember I said challenging and stretching at the beginning? I really wish I hadn't done that now. The component scores, and remember we were concentrating on feedback, we've improved satisfaction with the promptness of feedback by 16%, satisfaction with detailed comments improved by 14%, and the helpfulness of the comments by 8. 1 year it was 9, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Those scores are encouraging. In 2013, we had the biggest leap for any of our mission group universities in the UK, and the biggest leap in Scotland. So we're reasonably proud of that. What we're also pleased with is the greater level of staff commitment to providing high quality feedback that helps the students in future. And we're also really pleased with enhanced student awareness. You can go to almost any students you pick at random now, they'll recognize the color scheme, they'll recognize the logo, they'll recognize, oh yeah, that's about, because we've hit all of those areas. But it's a lot of effort, and once again, I take my hat off to my colleagues from the Feedback Enhancement Group who've participated and done a great deal to help. Every new GCU student, whether a first year coming in or a student transiting through our College Connect schemes, accesses feedback materials of right and compulsorily. It's a mandatory thing. They've got to see the video during the induction process. They've got to have some exposure to the materials. And our staff use the centrally produced resources. a lot more than was the case previously. They've proved popular. I think I know about their Wi-Fi system now. Like all initiatives, it was time limited, and in 2014 our academic policy committee decided that the feedback enhancement group should be reviewed, and it's been wound up in that sense. However, it's embedded in a number of ways. We have a new feedback policy in the university approved by Senate. Quite pleased with that. It enshrines it hopefully forever, or until it gets revised again. And our feedback enhancement activities have been really mainstreamed into core policy and practice throughout the university through things like our strategy for learning and our student experience frameworks, which again contribute to what we hope is a high quality student learning experience. Academic schools have to produce feedback action plans relating to what students say and to what the NSS tells us about their programs and in general. And the dialogic nature of feedback is encouraged through a range of different initiatives, including academic advising. The central support has been reduced, but it's also been extended in a different way. We have the Engage program, for whom Leslie now works, launched this year. It's a new initiative. Again, it's an extended partnership between the staff and the Student Association through the leadership of GCU Lead and our Student Experience Directorate. Collaborative working, yes, we're familiar with that. And it really is establishing an institutional level approach to student engagement. And it's underpinned by 4 principles: enhancing the student experience, common theme of course, working with students as partners, capturing the student voice, and engaging with the wider university. All good stuff. Some references available on request, of course, and I'll leave you with this slide. Hopefully, more students will say, yes, my best assignment yet. But this one matters more than anything. It made me think about feedback in a positive way, which I hadn't done before. This will be useful for my future learning. Thanks very much, and I've got 5 minutes for questions. Anybody want to ask any questions?